start over, but I got to do it. What are the primary functions of a 501(c) or a organization such as ours, the House of Yah Community Outreach? Is that we provide a fiduciary service to the public. We help folks. We help folks that need help. I help people all the time. Are we 100% effective? Do we just sweep in and save today? Sometimes, but it's a fight, and it's oftentimes never our personal fight. It's always somebody else's fight. So because of that, we kind of started at a disadvantage. But my belief in Yahweh and my belief in what I believe in as far as how I live and things like that. I'm a practicing Hebrew, and that's what we do here, by the way. We're not part of any religious group or any religion or anything like that. No. Oh, he's kind of like he's Jewish. No, see, religions are created. Okay, being Jewish is not a religion. I'm going to tell you that now. It is absolutely not what you think. So, welcome to the call. I'm just going to go ahead and mute you. But being religious or being part of a religious organization is something that's been created. Yeah, Christianity was created. If you want to be a Mormon, hey, that was created too. Joseph Smith created that. If you want to be a Catholic, well, that was created too. If you want to be a Christian, guess what? That was created too. And Yahweh didn't do it. You hear me? And before we get started on this call, I just want to tell you guys, there's only one way. It's in your Bibles. Us as Christians, or us that grew up as Christians, remember this was drilled in our head. There's only one way to God. There's only one way to Yahweh, and that's through Him. Like if you wanted to get, like for me to get with my wife, I had to make a covenant with her. I didn't join a religious group to get with my wife. Absolutely not. Didn't need to. And you know what? You don't need to join a religious group to get with Yahweh, our Creator. Okay? You don't need to argue about who He is and what He is. Okay? And because if you seek Him, you'll find out who He is, just like I did. And let me tell you something. The waters for me are very, very clear, super clear, and I get it. The problem with these state nationals out there is that they're so beat up by the world, and they've had so many failures, personal failures in their life, and somebody's always getting over on them. It's almost like they're stuck and they're hurt. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people in the freedom movement are simply in the freedom movement because they feel betrayed by a system that was said to represent them, but it really doesn't. It actually represents their interests, not your interests. And that's a tough thing to deal with. I think there's a few different ways that people deal with this. If you're smart, you're going to get off your can and do something about it. Or you're going to be a spectator to your own disaster. Yeah. And sometimes people get into that too. And that happens. Divorce, foreclosures. These are big life-changing events. These are things that happen. So because of all this stuff, and because we do have bankers that are criminals, and because we do have false loans, and we do have fake contracts, and we do have dishonest people, and we have all these things, because we have those things, we have remedy. And that's one of the things that most people don't know. So what you've got going on is you've got a lot of people that are venting, and you'll see some of these calls, they stay up all night long, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, to get like a little nugget of truth. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that sign up there like that. Sorry. But they get like a little nugget, a little something of truth, so that they can have some closure about the foreclosure that happened to them, about the traumatic things that happened to them. And how do you tell these people? How do you tell? Because these people will hang on to a specific event no matter what. Tonight, we're going to be talking about that. Tonight, we're going to be talking about who is Kenneth Plaster. Kenneth Plaster is from what I know, and I've met him. I know who he is, and I know his wife. I know his daughter. I've met them all. They actually took one of my classes. And, I try to convince them that there's this whole state national thing is more like a militia movement, and it seems to be really violent, and it seems to be very aggressive and far from private. Okay. This is David Straight's group. So I'm going to tell you that you can't live in the private if you're shooting your mouth off all over everywhere. I mean, we do it for ministry purposes, but you will never hear me teach a class over this public utility. It will never happen. And do you know why? It's to protect the students. It's to protect the people that have participated in that. And why do they need protection? Because they have a right to privacy under the Fourth Amendment. That's why. Just saying. You know, I say this often, and you'll see me publish this often on our page. Is, you know, in Proverbs, it constantly says throughout Proverbs, that's in the Bible, by the way, that we should never move the ancient boundary stone. Okay. I mean, I'm a guitar player. And one of the things that we have to remember is tuning, right? So what do we have? We have tuners. And what does that tuner do? It brings us back. We're not too flat. We're not too sharp. We're right there at the standard. Now, what happens if you take that tuner out of the standard? Well, then I'm just guessing. And I'm not bad at guessing, okay? But I'm a whole lot better with a tuner. And these state nationals are kind of all about the guessing. You'll see Kenneth Plaster's many videos of we're just cranking out our paperwork. Well, he hasn't done any paperwork. I mean, you saw the pictures. They're on their stairs. So let me tell you, somebody that is got a lot of momentum, that's heading forward like that, be careful. Get out of their way. Let them go take care of themselves. Because here's the problem. When you're dealing with a switch hitter like that, that's 1 minute over here and then the next minute over here, his ancient boundary stone, his rudder on a ship has been removed for metaphoric purposes. It's been removed. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen if I play a guitar that's out of tune? It's going to sound like crap. What's going to happen if you take the rudder off your boat? You're going to have a hard time getting out. Doesn't matter how much momentum you have. Doesn't matter how excited you are either. Doesn't even matter if you're a state national. And tonight I asked Anna Von Wright to join us. I called her out. I called out David Straight and asked him to join us. I think I'm going to take one of his stupid classes. I'm going to ask a whole lot of questions. And if I do that, well, you'll see. Anyway, and it may not even be me. It might be somebody else. You just never know. And this is the problem. When you claim that you operate in the private, but yet you've got 6 million views. How in the heck are you private? How is anything that you're doing private? It's not. So we took some time today. Let me talk a little bit about Kenneth Plaster too. Kenneth Plaster, if you guys look him up on TikTok, he likes to talk about removing judges and doing things like that. So tonight we're going to talk about, tonight I'm actually going to show you one of his videos. Let's see if I find it here. I had it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, and those of you guys in TikTok land, I'm going to flip this thing around so you guys can see it. All right, here we go. Oh, there we go. Let's turn that on. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Any state nationals out there ever seen this and know what it is? Guy told me about this named Timothy Dameron, saying that if you use this, it has more authority than a judge. So you keep your records and your documents of mailed out things, like you're going for a ticket, you mail it out.
All right, hold on a second. That's absolutely not true. I've never taught that. And that's completely false. This is completely a malfeasance. The only part he has said right is that, yes, he took my class. I showed him how to use the firm mailing book. And the whole idea behind the firm mailing book, just to be clear, everybody, is so that you have an additional witness, okay? It doesn't override a judge's signature. That is completely sovereign citizen moonshine. He's going to get stopped for drinking. Watch. Anyway, we're going to keep going here.
Record all your stuff with this. So if you ever got to file it in court, that signature down there is superior than his authority.
Again, that's wrong. It is not superior to his. It's superior in his jurisdiction. because he's the mailman.
Period. What do you think? So this is called a 3877. You can get a book or you can print this out. When you go to mail your documents, you have to get it filled out by them. You fill out all these red parts, affidavit. You write what you're going to put up there, what you're mailing. You put their address there, your registered mail number or certified mail number there. Then your address goes there. Make sure and put your zip code in boxes. If you don't, you're giving them jurisdiction over you. Whoever signs this
That's also not true either.
at the post office,
and I don't teach that.
signing under the Postmaster General's authority. These two numbers represent how many parcels. It's just one. And that's it. That's how you use it. It's called PS Form 3877. Helps you keep track of firm mailing. State Nationals rock.
Okay. So apparently State Nationals rock all by themselves. It's amazing. Anyway, we're going to go to this other little thing. We're going to talk more specifically about this ticket. So before we get into all that, we just minimize this for just a minute. We're going to stop sharing just for a second. Hi, guys. Welcome. Turn on your cameras, everyone. This is going to get bumpy. It's going to get fun. So before we get into this whole ticket story, I'm going to pull up my phone here. And I'm going to tell you that here's my phone. And you're going to see that this is from Ashley. Hold on, guys. I'll get it up to you guys. I'm showing everybody on Facebook right now. This is Ashley, by the way. That's his girlfriend, the one that takes care of him. And there we go, everybody. There, you're going to see what's going on here. So I know it's hard to read, so I'm going to read it to you. This conversation happened on May the 13th, and this is very important. This happened on Friday, May the 13th, the day after they took my trust and UCC class. So she writes me, I'm going to have Gwen message you. She got a ticket and wants you to help her learn the process on how to handle it when you get your rights violated and how much it is. She recorded it. I was like, well, whatever. That's fine. My response to her was, okay, tell her to send me the ticket and we'll take a look at it. Okay. So one of the things that we do here at the House of Yah Community Outreach is that we help people. And to give you some scope, background on Gwen, usually we would never, ever talk about anybody that's gotten help from us. So if you guys ever need help from us, don't think we're ever going to put it out. But because her stepfather and obviously her mother doesn't care that all of her information is all over Facebook and TikTok and everywhere else, I figured I might as well clean it up. So that's what we're going to do today. But normally we would not share anybody's personal information. I'm going to switch you guys back. So you guys want to check out your cameras, or those of you guys that are on the deal here, we're going to get to this video here. Hold on a second. All right. So, all right, here we go. Oops.
Young like this kiddo right here. 19-year-old Gwen, been raising her since she's 7. She's my step kiddo. She's a state national. She got pulled over. She has all this cool evidence of what she did to show state nationals actually are real. And we're going to show it to you today. It's your lucky day. Get your stuff ready.
Yeah, whatever.
It's a felony to ignore it. And so
So by the way, you guys heard the text message that Gwen just got the ticket, right? So you're going to see all this State Nationals rock paperwork, and you're going to see that she still gets the ticket.
we support the police and everything, just my rights, they can't be violated.
She's very sweet, by the way.
So you can go to court, present your information, and since the judge is a ruling factor of it, he can dismiss it or not dismiss it.
Look at this munchkin. Just keep having to jump up and get all in this business right here. You know? That's true narcissism at its best right there, by the way.
That's strictly up to him.
I wonder what's going to happen.
My job is basically based on what I did.
Notice he didn't care about any of that paperwork, and you guys are going to see it. It's all from different states and different jurisdictions, and it doesn't mean squat. But hold on.
Deemed to do, or deputized to do, is control the traffic according to the Department of Transportation, right?
See?
So
I have
Good
something
guy,
from the
you
Department
just
of
don't
Travel
know.
right here, and if you'll read.
Okay, so that documentation from the Department of Travel is from, it was a notice to a governor in another state. I know because I actually have that exact document. and it was sent to the governor in my state.
That's fine, but I haven't been given anything different from my supervisors or higher.
Good
So
side.
the courts is where these type of issues get resolved, correct? So I'm just going to issue the citation for the speeding. And I'll let
So here's what I want to say. I want people to know that when you interact with these,
All right, here, don't listen to this moron. Now, let's look at this ticket for just a minute. If you look right here, it says display a fictitious driver's license. Okay? You see that? And then he wrote her up for speeding too. So let's just let him finish digging the hole here.
it doesn't have to end bad like all these videos portray. Be respectful, dude. Be polite. Present your information. If it doesn't work out in your favor, do this process. So they gave her up there. You can see speeding and display a fictitious driver's license. All she did was she gave him her passport. He didn't want to do it. That's his name, R. Green.
Now, how could you getting a fictitious driver's license if he gave you your passport? Do you see how this guy is talking out of his right butt cheek here? It's like a one cheek sneak. Check it out.
He's a good guy. He just didn't know any better. They're not trained right. She's supposed to go to court right there, 5:31 and 9 o'clock. Instead of going, we filed documents and rescission that contract. This is what we did. Within 72.
Well, hold on a second. We filed some documentation? Well, see, now that's a fallacy. Any of you guys that have ever seen any paperwork come out of here or any kind of, anytime my wife has to do a lot of you guys we've done, presentments for you, notary presentments and stuff like that. Anytime we do a notary presentment, this is the format we use right here. And you'll see the postmaster stamp right here. He didn't get that because he's not a notary. So anyway, moving on.
You send that ticket back with these affidavits and this document. You get an affidavit, truth and fact, notarized. Oh, and when they
hold on. Now look at the dates here. June the 22nd. This was like a month later. And we're sending notices and all this other stuff. So talk about like totally just talking trash after it's already won. He's really lucky that they didn't just, reinstate the tickets.
You got to invoice them. So there's his invoice. And look, it says,
yeah, and he doesn't know how to get paid on it. So I don't know how that's going to help you. Should trim your beard.
Number. Duns means they're a foreign for-profit corporation. Duns redacted. Here's another attachment to show she is there.
And this right here is what dumb means. Okay, so we got the Duns number figured out. Now we got dumb. All right, there we go. Sorry, I just had to get that out.
Transgression piece, guys.
And you'll see why.
You can see that's what's underneath that page because you can't write on these documents once or.
Now, hold on a second. Now, let's look at this document that he's seeing that holds so much importance. This is not even filed in Texas. It's not made out to him. And it's in Georgia, I think, or somewhere. I don't even know.
Or you alter, ignore it, you destroy it. Right to travel.
Okay, right to travel right here. If you look at this documentation right here, this isn't even his name. So you're just stealing other people's mail and using it as your own. And this was in November the 21st, 2015. I think this guy was still getting a driver's license in 2015, maybe. No, I think he's like 2039 or something.
There's the Arizona State Senate one that you see floating around.
Oh, yeah, because the Arizona Senate one is so important and so relevant in the state of Texas. And it works nationwide in all the other states, too. What a cuckoo bird.
That one. And the final thing we sent him was the constitutional.
All right. Now, this constitutional sheriff stuff right here, this is courtesy of Anna Von Wright, okay? And the last people that I know that walked around with this constitutional stuff like this paperwork, they ended up in jail in New Mexico for trying to break somebody out.
We sent him the constitutional sheriff's
legally, of course,
handbook right here, and this is what happened. They threw her ticket out. Here's the proof. Check it out.
10.
Now hold on a second. Now watch. She's going to be verifying this ticket or whatever happened, right? As you know, Tim Damron rocks. But anyway, she's going to be verifying this ticket. But notice she's not using this Arizona State paperwork to verify her ticket. What paperwork is she using?
707.
The ticket number. As you can see.
10747007. Yes, ma'am. What is your first and last name? Gwendolyn Morris.
Check it out.
I'm not showing it's been entered into the system as
She can do it. You can do it. State Nationals rock.
State Nationals lie. Let's go down to here to this a little bit. All right. So, like I said, we help a lot of people out. And, I hate people put people's stuff out like that. That's actually my stuff. But we do keep copies of everything because, you just should. Let's see. There we go. So you recognize this? Yeah. Well, this is before it got mailed. So here's everything. And you remember I told you that she got written for having a fictitious driver's license, right? Well, what he meant to write her for was having a fictitious license plate. He just screwed up. So the reason that they kicked the ticket is not because State Nationals rock. It's because Tim Damron knows how to find defects. And it says right here, the claimant, Precinct 3, Place 1, Justice of the Peace Court et al., defined as an institution under Texas Business Commerce Code 601-051, paragraph 4. Under this authority, the attached and above citation was returned in accordance with the Texas Business Commerce Code, governing Texas Business Commerce Code, and was returned to its agent in accordance with Texas Business Commerce Code 601-053 on or before the third day. Presentment as requires if the consumer lawfully wishes to cancel this transaction. And then it says right here in paragraph the point 2, the affiant, which is her, has personal knowledge that she did not present a fictitious driver's license as filed with this court. And I affirm that no such evidence exists to support this claim. So this is why her ticket got dismissed. It has nothing to do with anybody rocking. So now remember I did tell you that they did actually mean to write her up probably for the sui juice stupid $35 license plate that these idiots are driving around with. And if you look right here, the Texas Transportation Code says that they're not allowed to regulate any kind of registration on your vehicle in the state of Texas unless you're a commercial vehicle. And that's law. So I just threw that in there just in case. Or let me rephrase that. We decided we would throw that in there. She told me what happened, everything had happened. And obviously I saw the video. So you'll see how this happened. And look at that. Notary presentment of service. So like I said, we didn't do anything. And I got to tell you, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to move this back. I got to tell you, there's a lot of bad information going on out here. There's a lot of people that are talking about stuff. And, actually I had some of my group dig around a little bit too. And Tom, I'm going to unmute you for just a second. This guy claims that he goes after judges and things like that. Did you see anything like that when you did a search on him?
Nothing was found of that nature on the search.
No court cases, nothing, huh?
No court cases, no examples of anything. And
wow.
Yourself, when under your case that you're in Bandera, I mean, it's out there on the internet, just like my foreclosure one on the federal. It's out there on Google and whatever,
Because it's public notice.
Yes.
And when you're going out, and that's the vibe I get from this guy is he acts like he's the he kind of acts like, what was that thing, that comment that was saying he acts like he's the bastard child of Anna Von Wright and David Strait.
And David Strait.
Must have been a heck of a sleepover.
It's true.
I'm telling you, man. This one here is something else.
You showed him the PS 3877 form. That's merely another witness to the fact, and you taught that before,
Yeah.
It doesn't supersede a judge or anything like that. It's very dangerous information.
Well, I just don't want. I had to clear this stuff up because I just don't want it. I don't want any of this stuff getting out on me. This is not what I teach. And if you guys want to know what I teach, come and talk to me privately. And that's how we talk about private things. We do it privately. So, this is kind of how we do things. Did you have any other input? Any other thoughts on this cat? I think some of y'all reached out to him. I think Rebecca did too. I know she's on the call tonight.
I just think that he wants to be somebody that he's not. And it's like you said before, every one of us that have been in this movement a long time, it's a long process, and it's not a get rich quick scheme. You just got to do it methodically and a procedure like you handle it. And it could get you in lots of trouble. And I mean, we've seen a lot of people get arrested in IRS paperwork and things of this nature. And I mean, it's not a get rich scheme if you don't know how to do it.
Yeah, it's a real two-edged sword, Tom. That's been my experience. It really is. I mean,
Yes.
as sharp as you go in there and you think you're going to cut one of these public officials down, don't think they won't flip that sword on you and come back and hit you again. One of the things I wanted to discuss that you brought up was jurisdiction. Y'all heard about that? Was the jurisdiction thing about putting your stuff in brackets on that 3877. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter if you put it in brackets or don't put it in brackets. It's still going to get to your house. And if anybody's going to pass judgment on you, they're going to do it. Would you guys agree? Would you agree, Tom?
Yes, I really do. Because I've seen that Anna Van Wright's paperwork, and I've got a group on Facebook that I've been friends with, and they really, this is what you need to be in. And she puts out her deal, and I've seen her talk on her shows, and sounds quite authoritative, and people just really go for it. And I mean, they've seen other people that use the same paperwork, and it has not worked. It has not worked. It kind of makes you think that she's actually working for the government and she's just on a fishing trip.
Maybe. Well, it won't take much of a hook to catch Kenneth Plaster. All you have to do is say 1099 and he'll come running.
True.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm going to add something. I'm going to go ahead and mute you out for a second here. But, some of the things that I am seeing with this guy is that, he likes to take ownership of things. And, I'm going to tell you that that's an illness. That's narcissism. Okay. When you're dealing with somebody that needs to be in the center of the room, in the center of attention, in the center of everything, otherwise he's emotionally going to fall apart. That's Kenny Plaster. And I'm going to tell you what, I know it so well because once upon a time, ready? Tim Dameron was like Kenny Plaster. That's right. I could say that. I was just like it, man. I had a mouth bigger than the Grand Canyon, and this knowledge was so amazing, and I was just learning so much, and I was so overloaded, and I just didn't know how to process it all. And I'm going to tell you, when you remove the ancient boundary stone out of your life, in other words, like the guitar tuner, you don't know what tune you're in now. You're just trying to make it. And we need Yahweh in our lives so we know what tune we're supposed to be. We know how we're supposed to resonate. We know if we're resonating between each other properly. We know if we're learning properly. If you're trying to do it any other way, you're going to fail. How are you going to fail? I don't know. Pick a reason. But speaking of failures, we're going to change gears. Like I said, we are not going to talk about Kenny Plaster all night because he's just not worth it. But I certainly did want to clear that up. He also made a comment, too, that stated that, I'm just going to put it out there. A lot of you guys seen it on TikTok. He did a written comment to me and stated that, if I posted another video about him or his name, that he's going to have to come over here. Well, I haven't seen him yet, and I'm going to tell you, Hot Rod, I've had 2 counties come after me, 2, and their employees, and their guns, and their sheriffs, and they made up all kinds of stupid shit. Excuse my language, but they made up all kinds of stupid stuff to try to entrap me, try to get me, try to do all kinds of stuff. So I don't know what you're going to come up with, Kenny Plaster, but it better be better than what they've done, because Houston County has got a big fat lawsuit filed against them, and their bonds are about to go boy. That's what this book is for. And anyway, we're going to go through that tonight, and we're going to stop wasting our time talking about Kenny Plaster because he's just done. So tonight, one of the major things that our public officials do is negligence. They're negligent. If I had to make a judgment call after I read what all this stuff means about these elements, we're going to talk about that here in just a second. when I started looking at that, I think we have a lot of negligence. I think that's why we don't. That's why we can't get control of our country right now. We got people running around all over the place in Washington. We don't know if the White House is open, closed. We don't know who the president is really, because he's got, Donald Trump's in Air Force One, and some clone and some bag of bones is in something else flying around acting like somebody else, and land of confusion, man. Phil Collins did that song back in the 80s. I'm going to tell you, he was 40 years late, or 40 years early. Thank goodness other bands have redone that song since. But anyway, tonight we're going to be talking about negligence. This is one of the key administrative issues that people have in courts. People have the biggest complaints about these things, and we're going to talk about. There's 4 elements. Okay, there's 4 elements of negligence that must be shown for a liability claim. Last week we talked a little bit about liability claims and what kind of tort claims those are, whether they were intentional torts and other torts, and tort. And all that means is right here on the magic page of 33. What that means is that you have an opportunity to get remedy. Okay. We don't have to put up with Ted Cruz not doing his job. We don't have to put up with anybody else, for that matter, in this state or in your state, when they don't do their job. And I'm going to show you what that means. It's called negligence. That's right. And it's right here out of the book. That's right. We're in class today. And the 4 elements of negligence that must be shown in a liability claim is, number 1, the legal duty. So you obviously have to explain what their legal duty was in the first place, right? Because if you don't tell them what their legal duty is, yes, and it's a 1, 2, 3. It's all in their oath of office. That's where you get it from. And you basically transfer their legal duty to your paperwork. Okay. So you need the legal duty. You need a breach of duty. So you need to be able to show a breach of duty. That's a paragraph. Breach of duty. Da 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 da. Batman at the end. Okay. All right. Number 3, proximate cause. Okay. Proximate cause is big. Okay. You got to have that. And number 4, the most important, actual damage or injury. Now, let's talk about that. Let's talk about actual damage or injury. Okay. This is why people take my travel class, because if you take my travel class, all of your fee schedules are filed. Okay. They're not sitting in your lap like what we saw with little Gwendolyn there, because obviously that didn't work out, because Mom sent me a text right after that happened. And we had to fix it. Right? Can you fix it? You know what? I can't. This one was a very easy one to do, only because you can't prosecute somebody on a fictitious driver's license. You can't. And you can't file a claim against somebody that had a fictitious driver's license. So if they gave you a fictitious driver's license and you take the fictitious information and you transfer it to a ticket, you have a you have a moot ticket complaint. And so because of that, it failed, and it failed miserably. Now, what I love about this book, and this is chapter 3, by the way, what I love about this book is that it's going to give you some case law to look up. When you're talking about the 4 elements, okay, and this is case law that you want to have, or maybe you want to have some connecting case law that's local, but you want to start with this. This is a good way to do it. And what I do is I go into Westlake and I'll punch in this case. And this case is Battle versus County of Martin, case number C0104592, 10th Circuit, ND, California, 2004. And then there's another one here, Estate versus Wills. So what this means when you start seeing cases like that in succession, that means that all those cases have been used together at one time. They made a big knuckle sandwich with it, knocked somebody out with it. So here's the big knuckle sandwich to knock them out with. It's right here. Okay. So what I would do is I'd look up these cases and find something there. Now, we talked about Duty. Let's talk about that. So duty, it says a duty to use reasonable care is an obligation to conform to the standard conduct that protects others from unreasonable risks. Now, if that officer breaches your rights, he's making you wide open to these unreasonable risks, right? Because now we have a civil issue. Breach of duty. Failure to conform to the required standard of conduct. That means, sorry, when you hear these officers, when you hear these people complain, these auditors, and they tell them, you know, hey, I need your name and badge number. And they're like, I don't have to tell you that. Okay, well, right there, that's called a breach of duty. The minute they do that, and the minute they breach their own policy, that's called breach of duty. And so all you have to do to determine that is not have court in your living room. No, no, no. Don't call Kenny Plaster because he doesn't know anything. Okay. What you do is you send a FOIA request and you request their policies. You request their whole stupid handbook and you read it. That's what Tim Dameron does. And that's why it takes a little bit for Tim to file things sometimes, because he's still reading the books. In case you guys are watching. Wink, wink. Anyway. All right. Causation. That means you cause something. Okay. That's a fancy word for you cause something. You know, and I swear if I had used this word back when I was a kid, my teachers would have said, that's not a word. But it is. It really is a word. Anyway, it says a reasonable, close, casual connection between conduct and the resulting injury. Proximate, legal cause, cause and fact. Okay. So these are called legal terms. Okay. Listen, all this stuff is all about casting. Okay. All of this going on right here is all this case law and all this talking and all these little words and all this stuff. This is casting. Okay. Take yourself back to the days of Mickey Mouse and the Disney show and think about that little stupid rat running up and down with his little pointy hat and his little, and he's making things happen, right? It's because he's conjuring things. And when you live apart from Yahweh and you live apart from truth, you have to just make stuff up as you go. And that's what they do. It's true. Totally true. So let's talk about this. Damage. This means an actual loss to the interests of another as opposed to damages, which is the remedy. Interesting. So when you're talking about somebody that has a legal duty to do something, I'm going to tell you this is very interesting. So remember that this book was written for them, not for us. Okay. So it's really funny. They talk about this example of legal duty in here, and it basically says that a citizen got really ticked off at this cop because he said, hey man, something bad's going to happen to me. And if you're not here at 8:00 on this date, it's going to happen to me. And you know what? It actually happened. He was right. He wasn't kidding. So, bet you think there's a duty of care there, don't you? Right? Actually, if you read this book here on the second paragraph here, it talks about that he doesn't have a legal duty. He has a legal duty of care to the city, to the area, to the conglomerate, to the to Bexar County, Texas, or Collin County, Texas, or wherever you live. Okay, he has a duty to that conglomerate, not specifically you or anybody else. And it says right here, and there's case law for it too. Most people don't know that. So let's talk about breach of duty. So, but what that means is that you just need to know what your policies are. She works for the Pope. Yeah, you're probably right. She does work for the Pope. Actually, man, Tori, you might be dead on right. I think you're right. I think she does work for the Pope. But anyway, welcome back to the call, Mike. I'm going to mute you, buddy. Unless you've got some wonderful input, I'm going to mute you. Did you have something?
Yeah, I just got disconnected going in the building.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Thank you for joining. All right, man. So let's go into a little bit more detail here. We're talking about this duty of care. So duty of care, it says on this example, this special duty is a relationship that includes just his area. So it doesn't include you personally. Police officers don't have a duty to personally protect you. They don't. I know it's so depressing, right? But hey, that's knowledge. You know why? Because when a cop gets up in your face and he's trying to shake you down and do his little fishing expedition and this and that, and he's acting like he cares, you can use this case law and say, hey, buddy, you don't have a specific duty to me. Move around. It's right there. It's right there. See, David Strait won't tell you this because he don't know. It's all theory. But see, this isn't theory. This is a book. That's right. Cops don't have a duty to us. So when they're shaking you down, remember to tell them, hey, you don't have a specific duty to me. When they're checking on you and they're saying, we're just checking to see if you're okay. Hey, you don't have a specific duty to me in particular. So, chispole. That's a Spanish word. Y'all can Google that. Anyway, breach of duty. Let's talk about the, and I think everything else, damage and injury, we kind of went through that pretty good. But let's talk about the negligence formula. It says a person not negligent or is not negligent. No, hold on. All right. The reasonable person standard is the standard of care is exercised by the hypothetical person who possesses the intelligence, education, knowledge, attention, and judgment over an average reasonable person. Interesting. Interesting. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? Anybody got any comments on it? This is open. Go ahead. It's what is it? I forgot. Star pound, I think. I don't know. I forget what it is. Anyway, if anybody's got any questions, just let me know. I think it's 9. Yeah, you press 9 to release it. That's what it is. Anyway, and then you guys out there in Facebook land, if you guys have any questions, just throw them out there. Tori, he's like slinging out comments like, great, dude, I love you. Thank you, man. That's what's up. Thank you. Thank you for all of your input and everything else. So it's really important that you understand what the standard of care really is. Because if you understand what the standard of care is, then you know how to take a higher position over what's going on in your court case, in your traffic stop, and everything that's going on. They need to be professional. You know, that's important. That's part of their job. Because if they're, that's, okay, so aggravated negligence. That means that they did something that was so reckless. Okay, and aggravated negligence, that's a tort. That's boom, aggravated negligence. Okay, and that means that what they're doing is they're doing something that's very reckless. For example, my friend Kayla was held in a jail for another state, for over 90 days without the opportunity to make bond. That's called aggravated negligence. And because of that, see, by them doing that, they had a perception. They knew what they were doing. And it's reasonable for anybody to conclude that they knew what they were doing and there was an intentional intent to hurt them. And that works. It says rules of law. It says, unless reasonable minds could not differ on the issue, the standard by which negligence is measured is for a jury to decide. But it says extraordinary situations may not wisely or fairly be subjected to tests or regulations that are fitting for the commonplace or the normal. So what does that mean? That means that if you don't have a fee schedule filed, you got to go to a jury to get your damages proved. Mandatory. And that's like another year in court. And they know that. Okay? So how do we fix this stuff? How do we assess the situation? So what they're doing right now is kind of like they're building a ship, okay? And they're plugging and they're checking all their little holes and they're filling things in and they're making sure that the sides are smooth and that it's going to cut right through the water, okay? So when you start looking at this stuff, you start figuring out that you can prove a proof of negligent is somebody that abandons reasonable care. They've had constructive notice. That means if they see a fee schedule and or circumstantial evidence. And that's interesting. So if you put the county on notice, that means everybody's on notice. If your paperwork is sitting in your front seat like Gwendolyn's is, and it's made out to somebody else, and you're presenting it as your own, that could be construed as mail fraud. So I know what their intent was. Their intent was to show that, hey, this, what I'm telling you has been perfected. It's just been perfected in another state. But that's not how you do things. When you're holding court in your living room, that's how things get done. But the problem is that as soon as you step out of your living room, as soon as you step away from David Strait, as soon as you do that, they're out of information and they don't have any more. They can't help you. We did Tom did a search just to see, kind of stuff's going on with Kenny Plaster. Becca's also on the call tonight too. And I know she did too. And this man has no traction. Last week or a few weeks ago when we talked about David Strait, and we had Chad on the call. And he was explaining how this whole cult movement thing started with them. And that's what it is, by the way. These people are dangerous. These are very, very dangerous people. These state national people, as far as I'm concerned, based on Kenny Plaster's performance, they're violent people. These people seek to overthrow this government. They have no solution to put anything back together other than let's create another system like what they had, and we'll just put our people in and everything will be fine. You know what? You're an idiot. You're an idiot if you think that's going to work. And here's why. Number one, you're underfunded. You don't have the money. You don't have any tanks. You don't have police departments. And you don't have friends all over the country that are all part of the same police department association feeding trough that will step in. They'll feed them. They'll clothe them. They'll do anything. Kenny Plaster, he ain't got nobody like that. He just got his girlfriend. And what he does is, from what I could tell, is he really hasn't accomplished much in his life other than he likes to play with the tattoo gun on himself and his wife. And unfortunately, that's just not a good situation at all. And apparently he guesses and tries to put on permanent makeup for people. We'll see how that works out. And I got to tell you, man, it's dangerous. And is it okay to be let me tell you something. It's okay to be whatever you want to be, as long as the group you're with is not associated with trying to overthrow or go to war with the government. Seriously, because you're dumb. Dumb. Let's give some examples of people that have tried to go to war with the government. What was his name? The big drug dealer in Mexico. Yeah. I don't like to use names. I'm just not going to. But you know what? That guy's got billions of dollars. Like that guy, the L guy, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And you know what? He wasn't even living in this country and decided to give the DEA the finger and do all this switch hitting stuff with them and do business with these people and this, that, and the other thing. I don't know to what extent. But at the end of the day, his ASS is sitting in jail and his life is over. So Kenny Plaster, what are you going to do, man? Nothing. That's right. And what we have to do is we have to find our purpose. And you find your purpose by not moving the ancient boundary stone. You find your purpose by talking to your creator. When you have a problem with your Honda, do you call the Ford store and ask them about their water pumps and electrical stuff because it might be similar to yours? Do you do that? I hope not. This body, this temple that you have, all of you have, myself too, this wasn't meant for you. This was meant to serve him. And you're supposed to be working for him. You're supposed to be working for Yahweh. It's not a religion. It's not a bar club. It's not a group. It's not a Republican or Democrat. It's a contract. We've got 10 minutes left in closing. What proof do you have in your life? Ask yourself this tonight. What proof do you have in your life? If you stood before the Almighty Yahweh right now, and Yeshua is standing there, and he's ready to push the button and the bottom floor is about to drop out on you, you're going down, what would you tell him? If he said, if you can give me a reason why I should let you in here, I'll let you in here. But if you can't, you're gone. Think about that tonight. What would you say? Do you have any fruits in your life? Do you have anything that separates you from Kenny Plaster? Those kinds of people? People that are delusional, a little bit broken, a little over traumatized, maybe? I don't know. Anybody that would just, come threaten some guy that's like 20 years older than him is a terrorist. He's a bully. I'm not scared. And I'm not scared because Yahweh takes care of me, because I serve him. It's not a religion. It's an agreement. It's a trust. I trust in the agreement that I made with Yahweh. And if you haven't made that agreement with Yahweh, and you're willing to go shake hands with every other Tom, Dick, and Harry out here, shame on you. Shame on every one of you. Our time is short. Things are closing out. It's almost over. We talked about this last week. The river Euphrates is drying up. The governments around the world are destabilizing. You can fact check that all you want to, Facebook. It's true. They're destabilizing in every state. Why? Because these governors and these officials lied to people. Yeah, they lied to people and told people to do things that were really an experiment. And now people are having life-changing problems because of this. And they're going to continue. We're going to see a serious mass genocide in this country. We're going to see a lot of dead people here pretty soon, if you're not already seeing them. I have a friend that's passed away. She has ALS. Passed away this week. She's going to be buried on Tuesday. She's 49 years old. And I'm going to tell you, your microwave, metaphorically, could be unplugged tomorrow, and your Hot Pocket is not going to finish cooking. What are you going to do about that? How are you going to overcome that? Are you just going to be a victim? Are you going to be a witness to your own tragedy? Are you going to get in the driver's seat and drive? Some of us are getting pretty old, but I can guarantee you this: none of us are getting any younger. None of us, not one of us, well, except for me. I'm just kidding. No, really, nobody. So if you guys want to learn this stuff, you want to learn what I do, come talk to me privately about it, okay? And we'll talk about it. If you want to win, you want to learn how to speak, you want to learn how to listen, got just the guy. Got just the guy I can put you in touch with. And I'll tell you what, if you can convince him that you need that miracle in your life tonight, he'll change you in an instant. You'll wake up tomorrow. No more pain, no more loss, no more questions in your heart. What's happening? Things like that. If you want that, I can't do it for you. Tom Lee can't do it for you. Rebecca can't do it for you. Peggy can't do it for you. And Tori can't do it for you either. But you can. You better put on your salesman's shoes. And I'll tell you what I did. I stayed downstairs on my face for weeks. Oh, it took a while. Believe me, I was not such a good dude. And it took weeks for him to finally take pity on me. finally feel sorry for me. And I was finally humbled enough to receive his blessing. And if you want to know how I learned all this stuff, it's not because I'm a smart guy. Nope. I don't have a bunch of master's degrees behind me. That's none of that. That's none of that. I'm more like these three idiots right here, actually. Those guys. I'm a lot like Kenny Plaster, to be honest with you. But the difference is, I know who my dad is, and I know what this machine right here is built to do. And it wasn't built to serve myself. It was built to serve him. In 2017, I made a commitment. I wrote it down, and I made a contract with Yahweh. And I told him what I would do for him. Sorry. He's never failed me, not one time. And I've walked through fire. I've seen things Kenny Plaster could never imagine. I've seen things that David Straight would never be able to verbalize. That's how mighty. That's how next level this stuff is. And I challenge you all, shake that stuff off you. Shake the pain of this life off of you. Yahuwah has paid the price. He did. He sent his son. So you don't have to pay it again, man. Don't. Look, let's see if this stuff still works. Look at it. It's still working. Anyway, he's paid the price, so you don't have to. Okay? You don't have to do that. So I encourage you tonight, and in closing, and I love you guys, all of y'all. Seek Yahweh, and he'll send you the truth. If you serve him with your heart, soul, mind, and body, you love your neighbor as yourself, and you live according to this Torah. I know it's old-fashioned, but you know what? It works. Here's the guarantee. If you have a desire in your heart and you're ready for it and it won't ruin you, your dad, my dad, that holds everything, he'll give it to you. It's true. And I'm living proof. I don't know anybody else that can say that about their Jesus, about their God. They just say, well, he's kind of flaky sometimes and he's very mysterious. He's in and he's out. Well, Yahweh is not mysterious at all. When he shows up better than a Rolls Royce. He shows up with all the windows cleaned, every I dotted, everything perfect. And when things are in perfect balance, you know that he's there. That's how I know. And I encourage you tonight to find truth in your life. Find that ancient boundary stone. Get your tuning right. Because this song is about to start. You need to do what you're built to do. You need to do what Yahweh has called you to do. Because you're running out of time. Like my friend did. Like my other friend did last year, Christian James. Ran out of time. He didn't get there. I hope you guys have a great night tonight. Speak to Yahweh. Talk to him. Get on your face. Humble yourself. You got nothing to lose, man, and everything to gain. So it's not about Kenny Plaster. It's about not being a Kenny Plaster. It's about having balance. It's about having a rudder in your life. And then you can take a fool and you can make him a general. That's what he did for me. And that's real. And I can say that, honestly. I hope you guys have a wonderful week this week. If you have some time, pay it forward. Make some time for Yahweh. And you know what? It won't return void. I promise you. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. May Yahweh bless your day, your homes, your weeks, your children, and everything that comes out of your mouth. Blessings, everyone. Good night.